our story begin in episode 9, where we would see Agent Father will still ask them for help, and yeah, the Autobots still do that thing. But the only difference is that the Beavis Autobots are not there. The only Autobots that are there are Optimus, RC, Cliffjumper, Bumblebee, Bulkhead, and Wheeljack. Well, the other Autobots are back at base. And pretty much the episode goes the same. The only difference is there's no Decepticons, so I think it goes much smoother. Episode 10 though, Breakdown and Knockout obviously come in, and Breakdown is obviously obviously goes and fights Bulkhead like how he did in the beginning of the episode, but the only difference is that Bulkhead has a partner, in which is Ironhide. And Ironhide is like, ugh, cons. And Breakdown does throw a punch, but Ironhide catches it and just punches him away, basically. Best way I can describe it. And if anyone has read the IDW comics, the ID Beavis comics, basically the IDW Beavis comics, you guys know that Ironhide, from the beginning he was made, or the beginning when he was born, he was just a warrior. Because the best way I can just explain the Beavis Autobots is that everyone was bred as a warrior, and yeah, so pretty much the reason why they're more brutal and more ruthless is because all of them were basically made for the military. They were made for war. Actually, all Beavis characters were made for war because everyone was born as a warrior. Because not one, and I mean not one, Beavis Autobots didn't know how to fight. All of them knew. And Ironhide was like top tier. This man wasn't close to Optimus's level or even Megatron, but he definitely was one of the most powerful. If not, he might have been the most powerful. But yeah, pretty much Ironhide just beats the hell out of Breakdown, and Breakdown barely escapes with his life. And Bulkhead's like, whoa, you easily beat him. And Ironhide's like, yeah. As they go back to base and inform Ironhide informs his Optimus, and Bulkhead informs his Optimus, and they obviously go off and steal the Energon Harvester. Only difference is that you see, when Breakdown and Knockout like do the same thing like they did in canon, the Beavis Autobots look at the Primus Autobots in such disappointment. They're disgusted. Ratchet like, how did they get how did you I don't even know how to describe this. This is just pathetic. And Optimus is like, yep. Beavis Optimus is like, yep. They're not the best, but we can try to help them. And they quickly come in and start beating on Breakdown and Knockout badly. But still, the episode will go pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Now, you see, like when Bulkhead is like, we need to go save Miko, helping all that. Ironhide is like, being emotional in a situation which is bad is not the best action. And Bulkhead is like, we need to help her. And Ironhide walks up to Bulkhead and he's like, is she in danger? Is her life at risk? Is she about to die? And Bulkhead like, well, no. Then why the hell can we just go there and help her like a bunch of idiots? While the Decepticons have a powerful artifact that might end the war completely. And Bulkhead like, well, fair enough, but she needs our help. And Anna is like, oh really? Who needs us more? The entire planet or one single human that couldn't get the job done? And hearing this just piss off many Autobots, but to be fair, he does make a point because say it's either a planet or one life. Pretty much Prime vs. Optimus would choose both, but nah. Beavis just chooses which is more important, but whatever. Now, pretty much the rest of episode 10 goes the same. Now episode 11, I would say goes the same. I'm not gonna lie, I can't really change nothing much about that. Episode 12 goes differently, as you see, when Arcee goes on that mission, Beavis Optimus accompanies her, along with just Beavis Optimus. Now, Beavis Optimus is walking in front of Arcee. Uh, oh wait, actually no. My bad. I wasn't thinking for a second. Cliff Jumper is also there. And we would have Sierra and Jack together. Now, Bavis Optimus is walking in front of everyone, and he's just wondering what to do. Now, obviously, Arachnid ship crashes. We get that scene when Aussie getting PTSD, and Aussie was still fighting Arachnid like she did in Canon, gets captured. Cliffjumper tries to save her, also gets captured, but Bavis Optimus comes in, and Bavis Optimus does not hold back. And Arachnid gets absolutely dominated. She gets tossed around, it gets thrown around like it's nothing. Even when she uses her spider webs, Bavis Optimus just uses his energon blades to cut through them. Because remember, like his blades are as hot as I don't even know how hot those things are. Like they are hot. Like remember when his energon blades were always like glowing? Yeah. That's just the heat that's coming off of it. So yeah, this man is just cutting through her webs like butter, like a flake, like a butter knife that's on fire, cutting through it like butter. And yeah, pretty much he overwhelms Arachnid, and she's beaten to submission. And Arachnid is like, so you're gonna take me as your prisoner? But Bavis Optimus looks at her, takes out his gun and says, no. Any last words? And Arachnid is like, no, you're an Autobot, you don't do this. Prime's like, yeah, I never did this actually. But now, I'm really just tired. As Prime executes her because, yeah, this Bavis Optimus lost an entire war because he was soft, so he has no reason to be soft in any other universe. Doesn't matter, like, bro is just tired. I mean, he lost his lieutenant, his scouts, and the war. So, bro just doesn't care. And this does surprise both RC and Cliffjumper. RC is actually more happy, but at the same time terrified because that's her. That's technically Optimus at the end of the day. So she's she's conflicted. She's confused. Either she's like, am I supposed to be happy or scared? And Cliffjumper is wondering if he should be okay with it or not fine with it. But they don't report it to their Optimus because honestly, they don't really know how to think of it. And yeah, episode 13 goes the same. Same with episode 14. I can't really change those episodes so much. And yeah, episode 15 though goes way differently. As you see, the Decepticons are basically out on a mining. Megatron is there, and even Soundwave is there along with Starscream. They're all there, busy monitoring the Biocons that are busy mining the Energon. And the Autobots would appear and try to stop them. And Bavis Optimus orders his Autobots to basically help out the Primus Autobots. And he goes off to fight Megatron. Now, Primus Optimus wants to stop him but decides to leave him, thinking he won't do anything stupid. And pretty much Primus Megatron looks at this and smiles. And Bavis Optimus quickly climbs up and manages to get up the mountain they were on. And Soundwave and Starscream get ready, but Megatron tells them to leave as he got this. Like, he knows he's not gonna beat him, but he knows how to mess him up badly. As actually, when I was planning this, I was actually surprised because this is gonna mess up the entirety of the Autobot Alliance. But yeah, now Megatron and Optimus be fights, and Megatron is getting his butt whooped. He's getting beaten. But then Megatron's like, wait, Optimus, now, why are you even fighting me? I'm not really the true reason why this war even started. Hearing this makes Optimus laugh and he's like, you're no different from my Megatron. My Megatron started this war because he was jealous of me, because I became a Prime. And the thing is, that is literally the reason. Out of all the Megatrons, Bavis Megatron is absolutely the worst because this man started this war because of jealousy. I'm guessing people are right. Jealousy can lead to people becoming unreasonable monsters. But yeah, Now, Prime vs. Megatron's like, wait, you really think I'm the reason for this war? As Optimus is like, yes. But then Prime vs. Megatron's like, before you even get the chance to kill me, hear me out. As Prime vs. Megatron explains everything down to the last details. As you see, if anyone has if anyone actually understands the law of Transformers Prime, I only understand a bit of it, but I know this. The council members, like in Transformers Prime, were corrupt and they had slaves. There was different classes. There was the slave class, the mining class, and other classes that were just well treated like garbage, treated like nothing. And Megatron was a gladiator, and he wasn't even treated better. So yeah, and the Autobots were actually like the main reasons, as the Autobots were the ones who actually make those classes and everything. So pretty much the Autobots are the reason for why the Decepticons even exist. And you see, before Optimus took over after Zeta Prime's death and all that, they was actually how can I describe this? Basically, put Zeta Prime was a corrupt Prime. He was corrupt like the council members, and he didn't have a good spark. Basically, he made deals with the Decepticons. He was not a hero. He was a villain. Pretty much like Sentinel Prime in Transformers One, the movie that came out last year. So yeah, and which is 2024, right? Yeah. And pretty much, how can I say this? Pretty much the Primus Autobots were the villains, and the thing is, Optimus was fighting for them before he even took over, so that makes him the reason, the problem actually. Like everyone glazes Primus because he's the best, but if you go straight into the law and you compare Bavis and Primus, everyone will say Bavis because at the end of the day, at least he didn't fight for people to be slaves. He fought for freedom. Bavis was more of a freedom fighter because the more you look into the law, you actually understand why this man became like that. So, yeah, pretty much, Bavis is a saint, and Primus is not so much. I don't think you can really compare the characters. When like this, sure you can compare the movie and show. Some people obviously say Primus is better, but I disagree. Both of them are equal. But when you put the law, you put the games, you put the comics, you put everything, the novels, everything together, Davis is way better by far, and that's just sad. And the thing is, it's not even close. Like it's just sad. Primus has been glazed for a long time, but he's not the perfect Prime, and he's not even close. But he's trying his best, so respect. But yeah, pretty much Megatron would explain everything, and this shocks Optimus. Davis Optimus is shocked. But then Starscream shoots him from the back, and Davis Optimus falls on his knees, still shocked. And Primus Megatron smiles and quickly leaves. And we would see Ironhide and Ratchet, the Bavis versions, are coming in like, Optimus, are you alright? And Primus is like, no. And Optimus proceeds to basically jump off the mountain along with his Autobots and then start helping the other Primus Autobots. And everyone goes back to base. But then Bavis Optimus grabs Primus and slams him to the wall. The other Autobots take out their guns, but quickly the Bavis Autobots disarm all of them and put everyone on the floor, basically pinning them down easily. As like I said, they're stronger. So yeah, pretty much Davis Ironhide little bros bucket and grabs RC and just chokes and grabs RC and just slams on the wall. And both Bavis Ratchet points his gun straight towards both Primus Bumblebee and Primus Ratchet. Now, Cliffjumper doesn't really take out his guns. Neither does Wheeljack, as both of them are wondering what's going on. And Prime Bavis, Bavis, and is like, Optimus, what the hell are you doing? And Bavis Optimus like, tell me right now that Megatron was lying, that your Autobots are the reason for this war even starting. Hearing this does confuse everyone, but Bavis Optimus that says the same things that the Megatron said. How he was a gladiator and, well, actually, he was a miner. He was treated like a slave. Then he became a gladiator to motivate the people. But the council denied him. He was fighting for revolution. And pretty much the council, which was the council members, like the council pretty much branded him as a villain, even though he was a hero towards the people, as he motivated and helped many people out. But his name was tarnished, and pretty much Zeta Prime. He also explained that Zeta Prime was a douchebag, explaining that he made deals with the Decepticons and gave information out that was ruining his own cause, and he basically said a lot of things. And hearing all of this, Primus Optimus is like, it is true. And Bavis is shocked. He lets go of his other counterpart and walks away in disappointment. Like, actually doesn't walk away, he steps back, shocked, surprised. This shocks the other Autobots. Well, not the other Autobots, it shocks mostly the Bavis Autobots. RC does look at this as, to be fair, she did know. She did know the whole time, actually. She knew, but since Optimus, like the Primus Optimus took over, the Autobots were fighting for freedom and justice. So yeah, they redeemed themselves, but at the end of the day, when you compare it, the Bavis Autobots are just, they're more heroic. Like, the thing is, when I was younger, I always loved the Primus Autobots, how they acted. But now, after finding out about the law, like everything, the Bavis Autobots are just better. They fought for freedom in the beginning. They always did. Since the beginning, ever since they were made, these Autobots always fought for freedom and justice. And the Decepticons just, well, the Primus Decepticons did the same thing, but were tarnished because Megatron was too angry. He was too corrupt to be saved. And Bavis Optimus looks at his Primus self and he's like, you don't deserve the title of Prime. And hearing this does make Primus Ratchet like, and you do? After all the murders you have done? After all the killing? And Bavis Optimus looks at Ratchet and is like, oh, did my cause fight for slavery? No. Well, actually, no. That's not what I meant, but how can I explain this? Pretty much, Bavis Optimus explains, we didn't fight for a selfish reason. We're not the reason why the Decepticons are even murderers. We're not the reason why this war has lasted for this long. As the thing is, Bavis Optimus argues with Ratchet, and the thing is, Ratchet has to keep his mouth shut because he points out many things that their Autobots did not fight for freedom in the beginning. They were basically hypocrites. They were basically the villains. They're the reasons for why the war has been like this. And Prime vs. Ratchet does say that is true, but they're trying their best. But then Bavis Optimus says, in the beginning, they fought for freedom. In the beginning, like, thing is, he explains his story. And the thing is, it's more tragic now because now I'm thinking about it. I can never look at the Primus Autobots the same. Somehow the Bavis Autobots are more saints than even them. Like, you can't actually compare. Yes, Sentinel made a deal with Megatron, but Zeta Prime has made deals with many Decepticons. And if anyone doesn't know who Zeta Prime is, just play the War for Cybertron games and Fall of Cybertron games. You guys will understand. Yeah. Pretty much, yes, War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron are connected to the Primus continuity. Yes, it's the same continuity. It's just they messed up they just messed up the plots a bit. They just messed it up a bit. But yeah, now pretty much Prime vs. Ratchet does say yes, they were in the wrong. They were the villains. They are the reason for why the war has been like this. Now this does shock the kids as they want. as they thought the Decepticons were the villains. And then Optimus is like, never compare my Autobots to yours. As he's disgusted. And like his anger is just boiling, but then he calms down. He just sighs. He's all that anger and all that aggression is now gone. He doesn't feel it anymore. He just feels emptiness. He feels disappointed. He just feels nothing but peace, you can say. You can say he's in peace with himself because, to be fair, imagine like this. Best way I can describe this like this. Imagine a version of you who's like you, but in the beginning fought for the wrong cause. Basically, he fought for the wrong reason, but he changed later on when he took over, and they started fighting for the right reason. But he knew he was fighting for the wrong reason. The thing is, Optimus knew he was fighting for the wrong reason. Actually, did he know? No, wait, hold on a second. He did know. Oh no, that just makes it worse. So, how would you feel if you had a different version of yourself fighting for the wrong reason and he knew? And then later on, when his leader dies and he takes over, then he starts fighting for the right reason. While you were fighting for the right reason your entire life, you always fought for freedom, but they did not. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, yeah, you cannot. Listen, Beavis Optimus, yes, he kills horribly. But when you compare the law, yeah, never. You can't compare these two primes. It's just not accurate. Like, thing is, Michael Bay actually did Beavis Optimus right. And the thing is, he wasn't even trying. That's just sad. I always looked up to Primeverse, but now, yeah, I'm not looking up to that guy anymore. But yeah, now Primeverse Optimus looks down in disappointment and gets up. He says that he's wrong and he understands why his counterpart is mad. So he asks if he's gonna join the Decepticons. And Beavis Optimus says, no, Megatron is long been gone. He fought for the right reasons, but he's now tarnished those reasons. As you Autobots treated your own comrades horribly. You Autobots treated your own race horribly. I can't really trust you Autobots, but I will not betray you. As I don't want to be like you. Hearing this kind of breaks Primeverse. And Primeverse decides to take out the Matrix and gives it straight towards Beavis. And Beavis looks at it and asks, and what is this? And Primeverse is like, the Matrix of leadership. I think it's better if you have it. As after after that, it kind of broke Primeverse. As to be fair, thing is, Primeverse wasn't a bad guy. Like, best way I can say it like this, he knew, but he didn't know what to do. I would say he's still innocent. He's a good guy, but the problem is what he believed in. And I'm glad he changed the methods of the Autobots, but he does deserve the Matrix, but he has to be better. So Primeverse believes there should be a new prime. Well, not a new prime, but he believes the Matrix should go to an actual prime. Because remember, if anyone has read the comics, you know that Beavis Optimus is a prime. He was never made a prime. He was always a prime. From the beginning, he was born a prime, while Primus was made a prime, basically. So pretty much Primus does give the Matrix towards Beavis. And Beavis just looks at it in disappointment and just grabs it. But the Matrix glows. It goes inside of him. And he gets upgraded. And Yeah. He looks like that. If you guys are gonna see it, he looks like that. And yeah, pretty much Bavis looks at himself and he doesn't really care. Like after that, he's kind of broken. Same with the cause. The both Bavis Ratchet and Bavis Ironite put down their guns and let go of the other Autobots to walk away with Bavis Optimus. And Primus Optimus looks down in disappointment, but Bavis stops and turns around. He then smiles actually. He's like, even though you're in the wrong, I'm glad you try to make it right. You're not not you're not so different. I I hope you and I can see each other eye to eye. Maybe maybe one day we we can change it to be better. Maybe. I just I just hope we can end this quickly. As Bavis Optimus does walk away, he does have a smile on his face because, to be fair, the explanation is there. Primus tried to do it better than Zeta. He tried to do it the right way. And he did succeed in a good way. So Bavis, even though he's pissed off, he does see it in a positive way. And he doesn't want the Matrix, but honestly, he doesn't even care at this point. Because to be fair, he really expected the Matrix to actually reject him, but it did not. As just because he kills brutally doesn't mean he is brutal. He does it because he has no choice. There is no choice. There never was. And yeah, I'm gonna end this off because it's getting way too deep for me. Peace!